Whenever you make a correct prediction, you lose one of your punya. The present life, Rahu in the second house, will see, or the Rahu type of any planets are over there, you would see that they are very happy to keep beards. Because when you're entering at Myru, you should be entirely mine. Sun in the 7th house or Sun in the Libra, they will face problem to the private parts. Namaskar, welcome to Astronic Academy. Welcome to the 5th class of the foundation course. Today's topic, 12th houses and their significances. Let us begin with the first house, that's Ascendant or Lagna. First house signifies a new beginning, the head, the appearance, how one would look, the present life, and finally the appearance of something, the appearance of the self. How does one act? How should be one's personality? How should be one's outer expression? Everything we can figure out from the first house. Second house is our education, ownership, control on wealth, precisely, inherited property, eyes, face, letter, speech, family, and Vanisthan. Planets in the second house decides how would you speak. That decides how the eyes would be, how one's face would look like. So, if you are having a Rahu in the second house, we'll see, or the Rahu type of any planets are over there, you would see that they're very happy to keep beards. If second house is ruled by any Mercurian sign or moon is being present, you would see they are very soft spoken. Their facial expression would be too good. They'll be too kind when they're speaking. Whereas if you see any malefic planets over there, they would speak very aggressively. They would use bullies when they're speaking something. That's what the second house is. Third house, chest, right ear, army, courage, power, brothers and sisters. And also third house is known as Parakram House, the source of energy. Third house is our friendship, documentation, neighborhood, nerves, and communication, social media, social circle, digitalization. All these things are seen from the third house. Fourth house is your home, land, house, mother, mantelpiece, vehicles, nephews, sons, ornaments, happiness, properties. All these things are seen from the fourth house. While the fifth house is your relationship, your loved ones, your kids, your education till the school level, not higher education. Taxes, soul, wisdom. All these things are seen from the fifth house. Your establishment, your chair, your position. This is a sign of the Leo. All these things are seen from the fifth house. Fifth house has some connection to the past life at certain point. Then comes the sixth house. Sixth house is your debts, Roh, Trin, Shatru. The main three component of sixth house is Roh, Trin, Shatru. That means your debts, your enemies, your diseases, thieves, injury, then your what? Bad acts, sins, fear, insults. All these things are seen from the sixth house. Sixth house is your maternal family as well. Your maternal uncle, your maternal aunts. These things are also seen from the sixth house. Now, why maternal uncle? There's a concept, I'm introducing a new term Bhavat Bhavatam. What is a Bhavat Bhavatam? This is actually the signification of the houses, the interchanges of the houses. Let me explain you. If we consider the Lagna as the first house, that is we ourselves, then we get third house as our siblings, as our cousins. Now, the fourth house is our mother, and from fourth house, if we count, we get the sixth house as third house, right? From the fourth house, if we count, then fourth house is the house number 1, fifth house is house number 2, and sixth house is house number 3. That means for fourth house, the third house is the sixth house. That is why it's the brother or sister of your mother. That means your maternal uncle. This particular concept is known as Bhavat Bhavatam. So once you know this technique of studying, you have multiple things to do. You can predict multiple things. You can figure out multiple relations. So that means in the same way, third from third is the fifth house. So whenever you are supposed to predict about your siblings, about your cousins, you would see the third house and fifth house both. Because your siblings are the third from the third house. That is the fifth house. So this particular concept is known as Bhavat Bhavatam. And this could be used in everywhere else. In the entire study of astrology, this particular concept would be used. Based on this concept, there's a new technique introduced. We call it blank chart prediction. So the blank chart prediction that shall be taken out in the next course. So in blank chart prediction, we don't need any planets. We will just tell me the ascendant of one particular chart, and based on that ascendant, at least 100 plus predictions can be done. Just based on the ascendant, because that time, once we have the ascendant, we know in every houses which particular sign we fall, and based on that, and using this technique of Bhavat Bhavatam, we can predict multiple things using the same concept. Now, what is the seventh house? Seventh house is your spouse, marriage, house of death, lust, pride, public. And seventh house is called the house of sunset, Suryast. This is where the sun sets. This is where the sun gets debilitated. The question is why? Why in Libra on the 7th house, sun gets debilitated? There's a wonderful explanation in Ribunandinari that why sun gets debilitated in the sign of Libra at the 7th house itself. That says, as Venus is considered to be the spouse or wife, and 7th house is considered to be your marriage, your wife, your spouse. So the wife of Sun once asked him that I cannot really bear you this rays, this heat of your rays. So you might be the king for the world. When you're coming to me, when you're entering my bedroom, you should leave all your jewelries outside. You should leave all your rays, all your heats, all your egos outside this room. Because when you're entering at my room, you should be entirely mine. So to keep his wife's these words, Sun has left all his shines and rays outside the home and then entered into this to his wife. So that's the reason when Sun removed all his ornaments and all his rays, he got debilitated. His energy got debilitated. So that means, that is the reason in Libra, Sun is debilitated. And what does that signify? So whoever is having a Sun in the 7th house or Sun in the Libra, they will face problem to the private parts. Private body parts will have definite problems. They will have some reproductive problems. Both the males and females. A Lal Kitab gives a wonderful remedy for that. To apply curd, that is dahi, in your private parts before the bath, before a shower. So that somehow neutralizes the heat of the sun at this particular point. Because 7th house is your marriage life. 7th house is your partnership. That is why the second owner of the 7th house is Mercury as well. Partnership. Both Venus and Mercury. Now 8th house. The sign of extreme darkness. 8th house is the reason of your death. It's the gateway to the another world. 8th house deals in research, occult, discoveries, infections, little most things, insects, darkness. All these things are represented by the 8th house. Inheritance, DNA, your in-laws. Now, why your in-laws? Why 8th house is your in-laws? Because this is the second house from the 7th house. That means your wife's family. That is the reason 8th house is again very significant, very, very significant in astrology. Now, when you predict 8th house, you have to see the 3rd house as well, because 3rd house is the 8th from the 8th house. So, 3rd house and 8th house makes a gateway to the another world. This is an exit way. In 8th house, your journey towards the another realm starts. Another world and another dimension starts. And that's where astrology comes into action. What does 9th house represent? That's your spiritual culture, your guru, father, God, your knowledge, higher studies, long-term travel, your punya, all the good deeds. Everything is seen from your 9th house. 9th house is also considered to see your past life karmas. What have you achieved in your past life? If your 9th house is having malefic planets, that means you are carry forwarding some bad deeds from your past life. That is why this particular birth, fortune is not supporting it. Because 9th house is your fortune, is your luck, is the house of your suit. If this particular house is having very fine planets, malefic planets, that means you are carry forwarding some good deeds from the first life. And this part, you are going to add during the fruits. That's all the 9th house. Now, what about the 10th house? 10th house is your karma sthan. Your profession, your work culture, career, victory, fame, livelihood, authority. Right? All these things, status, business, these things are set from the 10th house. Now let's talk about the 11th house. Your social circle, your salary, your income, your output, how rich you will be, welfare, praise. Right? Then your siddhi, what kind of siddhi you will be achieving. Your older sister, your laughter, softness, good news. All these things are set from the 11th house. 11th house is also for your uncles, your father's siblings, because it's the 3rd house from the 9th house. 9th house is your Qatar. And then finally comes the 12th house that deals in grief. It's a dark place. Right? It's your fit, left eye, hospitalization, the end of something, sins, sleep, poverty, enjoyment at certain point, jail, isolation, mental asylum. All these things are seen from the 12th house, the sign of Pisces. So these are the example significations of each houses. Now you see, let me tell you a glimpse of Jyotish and astrology, that why for few people, for many of the astrologers, occult becomes a curse. Astrology is a divine science, but all the astrologers got a curse from Prigu Nadiga, Harishi Prigu. And the creation of this universe. So the thing is, why I'm saying is, let me explain. As we know, the 12th house is the house of losses. And you know the 9th house is our good deeds, our punya, that we have taken from the past life. And as I said, 8th house is occult to prediction, right? Tantra, whatever this things you are getting into my key, you can predict the tomorrow, right? While you're having this, because you have punya in your chart. Now you see, 8th house is the 12th house from 9th house. That means whenever you make a correct prediction, you lose one of your punya from your stored hulla. And that is the reason you should know the astrology, the Jyotish in really good way. And you should know what kind of daily rituals you should perform to become an astrologer, a Jyotish, so that you don't lose your punya in total. Because if you get predict from a chart, that means your chart is having certain punya, certain good deeds, which is being lost with each predictions. Because 8th house is a 12 from 9th house. So that means in this particular birth, you have to continue doing certain good things, daily havan, mantra jap, donations, and other significant remedies, so that this punya gets balanced. Else it's very tough for you to balance this punya till the end of your life. Because after a certain time, if you continue to practice this, if you continue to predict people certain significant thing, you will be losing with your punya. And you will see after a certain years of practice in Jyotish, that sharpness in your prediction won't be there. It will be vanished at certain point. Reason being, you are losing with your punya. So how to retain that? By following a specific way of life, following a specific rituals, a Vedic rituals in life. That here should. So that was a simple explanation about the 12th houses. We have also touched 9 planets. Now let us see what happens when you mix both the planets and the signs. Basically, this is what astrology is. A combination of planets, add the signs, and you can make substantive predictions. How to do that? This is the predictive astrology. Level 1. We shall be uploading detailed video on this in the upcoming courses. But for now, let us understand some very important yogas which is available in astrology. The formation of yoga. One particular formation which is very famous is called Pancha Mahapurusha Yoga. The Pancha Mahapurusha Yoga is formed by 5 planets at their best. So the first yoga of the Pancha Mahapurusha Yoga is Hansha Mahapurusha Raj Yoga. Hansha Mahapurusha Raj Yoga is made by the Jupiter. How does that yoga forms? If Jupiter gets placed in any of the Kendra houses, that is 1, 4, 7, 10, and in the sign of its exaltation sign, or its own sign, or its friendly sign, then this is called Hansha Mahapurusha Raj Yoga. If you are having this Hansha Mahapurusha Raj Yoga with proper degrees, in the next topic we shall be discussing about degree. What is a degree? How to say the degree? This is one of the finest yoga that will provide you with every luxury in life. You will be one of the finest, famous spiritual leader, healer, a poet, the greatest principal, professor, the best of Jupiter you will receive. Many big scientists and poets and authors do have this particular combination in their chart. The next one is Bhadra Mahapurusha Raj Yoga. That is owned by Mercury. Same rule. If it is placed in the Kendra houses and the sign of its exaltation or its own sign, Mercury forms Bhadra Mahapurusha Raj Yoga, and this is the epic yoke of the benefits of Madhuri that makes you the greatest ever communicator. Maybe you are the one of the finest journalists in the country, or one of the greatest authors, greatest neurosurgeon, greatest comedians, and this will provide you with all the luxuries, materialistic luxury you can imagine, with car, bungalows, name, fame, everything. All the Pancha Mahapurusha will be giving out. The third yoga is Rochak Mahapurusha Yoga, for Dvaiti Mangal. Again, the same rule needs to be placed in the one of the Kendra houses, either in its exaltation side or in its own side. Then comes the Saturn, Shash Mahapurush Raj Yoga. And finally, the Malepya Raj Yoga, Malepya Mahapurush Raj Yoga, formed by the Vyas, is one of the most luxurious Mahapurush Raj Yoga. People with Malepya Raj Yoga gets everything, all the materialistic fulfillment in their life. Many Bollywood stars, Bollywood actors, Hollywood actors do have this Malepya Mahapurush Raj Yoga in their charter because it's Venice. And you get a top-notch position due to the certain placement of planets. Few other most powerful yogas are as follows, like Gajakesari Raj Yoga, that is formed when Moon and Jupiter gets placed together in Kendra houses or in the Trikon Bhav, 8 positive sides in 5 degrees. This particular yoga will also give you all the great things in life, from having a car to luxurious thing to a great bungalow. Whatever you can imagine in your life, you get this with this Gajakesari Raj Yoga. But you will see that in many cases, Gajakesari Raj Yoga is not giving accurate result as it's written in the classics. Many people ask me the question, okay, I to have the Gajakesari Raj Yoga in my chart, but I'm not getting accurate results. Why so? So always notice, if any other planet is expecting this particular combination, or if it is in lower degrees, if it is in the enemy sign or whatever something, if that's happening, or if the Gajakesari yogi is being there in the 6th, 8th or 12th house, then in certain cases Gajakesari Raj Yoga gets broken and do not give a fine result accordingly. Another fine and most common Raj Yoga is Budhaditya Raj Yoga. Budhaditya Raj Yoga is formed by Sun and Mercury. Again, this particular Raj Yoga should be free from all the malefic aspects. Needs to be done in friendly sites. In Kendra or Trikon Bhav, should not be in the 6th, 8th and 12th house, and should be the fine degrees. Only in that case, Budhaditya Raj Yoga will be giving you fine result throughout your life. Then some malefics, one of the malefic combination is Vish Yoga, that is formed by Saturn and Moon. If you get a Saturn Moon combination, that is what we call a Vish Yoga. You get too much depression in life. Whatever you do, you get depressed. You don't get a fulfillment in life in complex scenario. Then another negative combination we see is Kemadruma Yoga. It's completely formed by the Moon. Some people call it Daridra Yoga. So if Moon is placed in a house alone and there is no planet with Moon in the side houses, for example, Moon is placed in the 5th house and there is no planet in 4th house and the 6th house, and Moon is placed single in this particular 5th house and no other planet is expecting Moon, so it's forming the Kemadruma Yoga. Other Dariti, in Kemadruma Yoga, you feel like very alone. Moon gets more tensed and depressed. Moon thinks, okay, I have everything, but yet I have no one to share with. You feel like even after having all the things, you're very alone and you have nothing to share with certain things. That's a depressive thought and depressive feeling Moon gives you in Kemadruma Yoga. Depressive thought Moon gives you in his Kemadruma Yoga. Then there is called the Guru Chandal Yoga. We have already discussed about it. When the Jupiter Rahu combination happens. That Grahan Yoga, Sun Rahu, Sun Ketu, or the Kun Rahu or Hun Ketu equally gives you the bad results. So these are a gist of some most important yogas, and there are so many other yogas in Jyotish. We may make a series of yogas to understand the planetary combinations and how to make predictions out of it. But these are the very basic and common yogas, so we have shared it in this particular video. Now, while making you people understand this particular yoga, we have used a term called aspect or drishti. So let us understand what is the drishti of each planet. All the planets has a drishti, seventh aspect. All the planets can see the other planet from its position to its seventh position. For example, if your sun is placed in the second house, the drishti of sun will be done in the 8th house. We call it the seventh aspect. This is common with every planet. All the planets are having this. But there are 3 planets who are having special aspects. But there are 3 planets who are having special aspects. What are they? Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn. Apart from the seventh aspect, Jupiter has the 5th and 9th aspect as well. Jupiter can see the 5th house from where he is sitting, 7th house and the 9th house. Saturn can expect 3rd house, 7th house and 10th house from where he is sitting. Mars can aspect 4th house, 7th house and 8th house from where he is sitting. So this aspect makes a lots of impact. We'll make a separate video on the aspects, and with example we shall see how aspect can put some significant influence on one particular features. This is a glimpse how prediction in astrology is done. In the coming sessions, we should be seeing about few more other aspects to understand the basic things of the foundation roads. Till then, take care and stay good health.